October is the month of the Queen of Heaven. October 14, 2020 by Anna von Reitz. She has been known and worshipped under many names: Ishtar, Ashtar, Astarte, Isis, Cybele, Sybil, Ashtoreth, Semiramis, and yes, Columbia, as in District of Columbia. Athena, the patron goddess of Athens, was a slightly modified version of the Queen of Heaven, a more intellectual and academic interpretation of her holiness. From stone reliefs in the Middle East we can confirm that she has been worshipped for about 8,000 years. Always, she is depicted the same way: a beautiful woman with rays of light forming a corona around her head, a halo in other words. Most often she is also portrayed holding a lantern, lamp, or torch. She is often accompanied by her totem bird, a small owl, symbolic of her role as the purveyor of wisdom. Where have we seen a beautiful woman clad in Grecian robes, holding a torch, complete with rays of light bursting from her head? Oh, yes, the Statue of Liberty, standing in the New York City harbor. How could we miss the point? And who or what is responsible for this apparition of an ancient pagan goddess standing on our doorstep? Ah, yes, the Freemasons of the Grand Lodge of Paris donated it to us. Although this fact is glossed over today, and Wikipedia will tell you that it was a gift from the people of France to the people of the United States, when we follow the money, we see that this is not true. The people of France are not Freemasons, and they don't worship the Queen of Heaven, and they didn't contribute a single sou to the design, construction, or delivery of this ancient idol to our shores, just as the vast majority of Americans are not Freemasons, don't worship the Queen of Heaven, and would not be likely to welcome such a gift. Unfortunately, the Liars Guild sold the idea of the Statue of Liberty, and made it seem like a grand patriotic emblem, instead of being what it is, a giant pagan idol honoring the Queen of Heaven. About now, a great many Catholics reading this are shifting in their seats. They are very familiar with the phrase, Queen of Heaven, being applied to the Virgin Mary, and also with the halo of light often depicted encircling her head or even around her whole body. An entire large community within the Catholic Church, the Marians, are devoted to her worship, and are celebrating her Reign of the Heavens this October, as they do every year. Is the Reign of the Heavens Society making more sense now? See where this is all coming from? About now, those same Catholics are glancing sidelong at each other, wondering, which Queen of Heaven is everyone else here praying to? Are we Christian devotees honoring the Virgin Mary, or cult members worshipping an ancient pagan goddess? Could be either one, couldn't it? What a juicy circumstance for the father of all lies. To be able to have his followers openly worshipping the Queen of Heaven in Christian cathedrals, and a giant idol of her holiness being passed off as the Statue of Liberty, too. The pagan goddess known as the Queen of Heaven is famous for quite a few things, none of which are good. 1. The invention of idolatry, and especially the invention of money, which is a form of idol. 2. Use of hallucinatory drugs, including non-lethal doses of snake venom, to get high and experience heaven. 3. Cannibalism, including drinking the blood of babies, young children, and virgins to prevent aging. 4. Infanticide as a worship practice, especially burning babies alive. 5. Tree worship, especially when practiced in sacred groves. 6. Temple prostitution. You have sex with a temple prostitute and pay her or him to be forgiven of your sins against Satan, that is. Her priests in ancient times wore black robes and white wigs just like British barristers do to this day, and they were employed by the Roman Caesars, translates as destroyers, as tax collectors, and by the Roman Church as inquisitors, just as they still are today. Is all this beginning to resonate for you? Do you see its ugly outlines hidden just under the surface of things? Is this enough of an apocalypse, a drawing back of the curtain or veil, for you? When you first see it and begin to see the emblems of this ancient religion all around you, it's like standing on the back of a breaching whale and not knowing which way to jump. Suddenly, you see the all-seeing eye on the dollar bills and the CBS logo, and pyramids everywhere. You hear about the Bohemian Grove, as in tree worship and sacred groves. Swastikas and faggots, that is, bundles of sticks tied together ready for burning, carved into the facades of public buildings. Owls everywhere, keys everywhere, obelisks, phallus symbols, everywhere you look. You will never look at a crucifix the same way again. While sincere Catholics contemplate the crucifix to remind themselves of the price that was paid, the pagan Catholics use the crucifix to gloat over Satan's moment of triumph. They celebrate the death of Yeshua. The worship of Satan and his consort, the Queen of Heaven, is alive and well and right in your faces all year long. Its effects, the distortion of reality it causes, and its destruction of life and of the quality of life, are set before you. October is the month when devotees of the Queen of Heaven have their high holidays, which culminate on the nights of October 31st and November 1st each year. This year will be no different. Using Samhain, the ancient harvest festival of the Celts, and the Roman Catholic Church's observation of the Day of the Dead as a cover, the followers of the Queen of Heaven will indulge themselves in murder and drugs. They'll drink innocent blood and eat human flesh and get away with it right under our noses. If it is anything less than being caught red-handed with a plate of roast baby à la carte, they will pass themselves off as devout Catholics venerating the Virgin Mary. They will indoctrinate new generations to accept their tradition of wearing masks and worshipping war and death, all hidden in plain view. What do you think all these senseless mask mandates are actually all about? They serve no public health purpose, so what or who else do you think is being served? New York City, Washington, London, and Rome will be ablaze with their celebrations. Mexico City will too. And Quebec. Wherever the Roman Catholic Church has gone, the pagans have followed along like fleas on a dog. When the Pope suddenly retires and yet retains the ministerial office, ask yourselves, what office does the new Pope occupy? The sacred office is already occupied. All that is left for Francis is to act as the Roman pontiff, operating the secular and profane pagan office, and as a Jesuit he remains bound to do whatever Benedict XVI tells him to do. Yet another deceit. A round of good pope, bad pope, at everyone else's expense. What both these men need to know is that we see what they are doing and all the games they are playing, and we know who is responsible for the ills of this world. We hold them both accountable. If our people and our country are not to enjoy the peace and the plenty that we have earned, and which our employees certainly owe us, then they needn't think that they will continue to play their game and pass off the blame to scapegoats. They will pay the price that they have forced on everyone else. By their own deeds they will be judged, and by the punishments they decree for others will they be afflicted. Pope Francis is obligated to liquidate any incorporated entity that indulges in unlawful activities, beginning with his own municipal corporations, virtually all of which are established on our shores in violation of their service contract, the Constitution of the United States. It's also his responsibility, via the Queen, to liquidate offending territorial corporations. If he doesn't do it peacefully and with goodwill toward the victims of these usurpations and crimes, then both he and Benedict XVI are uniquely to blame for anything bad that happens. They are the owners and operators and creators of all these corporations, and together with the Roman Curia, they are uniquely responsible when these legal fictions run amok like runaway trains. And no masks or storefronts will save them.